Hello, everybody. My name is Jill Renee Feeler, and welcome to today's podcast. Let's get started right away by closing your eyes and taking some nice deep breaths here, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Please imagine with me. Please pretend that within your heart-centered area, right, the level of the organ of your heart, there is a diamond. And almost like a child discovering a diamond, like when you're playing outside, playing under a tree and there's something sparkly there, I encourage you to imagine your consciousness going to that diamond. And as you get closer, the diamond is getting bigger and bigger. And like that inner child, you're like, whoa, this is gorgeous. This thing is heaven. I can't believe I struck in this case diamonds instead of striking gold. Okay. And now suddenly, like a beautiful fictional tale, you realize that you are the diamond, that you're inside the diamond, and what you noticed is actually you. That inside of you is something so divine, so sparkly, so pure, so insanely wonderful, that you're just like, where did you come from? Have you really been here all along? And it has. Relax those shoulders, staying right here with me, please. This sparkly, pure, perfect cut of a diamond. You can have it raw, you can have it be polished, a perfect cut, however you want to imagine you. This is your soulfulness. This is the real you. The part of you that has always been and will always be, even when you're having a human experience. It doesn't end that diamond being that diamond light, that ray of source, of love, of pure genius. The part of you that feels like you kind of know what you're doing, even when your human self doesn't. These varying layers of you go together. Even when our brains don't get that, even when our experiences here don't reflect that. This purity, this beautiful, loving, source creator energy of you is always there, always available. And there's no judgment, no waggling of fingers when this reality does its thing in helping you forget that you're that. Okay, let's relax those shoulders. You can open your eyes if you'd like to. I'm just gonna stay right here and just keep gliding. I am recording a video for this message as well today. Okay, so staying right here. It's easy to start to hold a grudge against this reality, or feel animosity, or even hate, ranging from displeasure to extreme hate for the fact that you're here, that you're human. You add to that all these different stories that you can tell yourselves about why you're here and what's happening here, and they can just add salt to the wound. Humanity is told that when you are born as a human, you are naturally a sinner because of something that happened a long, long time ago in something called the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, right? There's so many stories. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, well, that's just Christianity. I left that years ago. Hold on a minute. Because I actually, in my own way of being angry, see it within enlightenment, quote unquote, communities, and it actually makes me more mad. Because I know for a lot of us, walking away from traditional Christianity because we knew there was another way to connect to God that wasn't through a church and wasn't through a pastor or a minister or a reverend or somebody that was like an intermediary between us and God. We called bullshit on that a long time ago. But what most of us, I feel and I see, are not realizing is that we just walked into another version of separation. Yeah, can I get an amen? Right? And I feel like for some of us, we're like, yeah, something is off here. Some of us may be in that state of, I don't know what it is, but yeah, something feels off here. So let's talk about it. Metatron said, yes, let's talk about that. And he's saying to me, Jill, tell him what your latest pet peeve is on this. I wrote it down yesterday, and I thought it was going to be just a quickie little Facebook post, but I see that it's actually, it was a seed that was planted within me for today's message, so let's just do that. Okay, you ready? Indifference to death is indifference to life. Just think about that. Within consciousness communities, even potentially within ufology, within meditation groups, within really enlightened societies and communities, sometimes there is this sort of glorification of death, that it's some sort of graduation, that it is the end of the misery in our humanness. And by being indifferent to death, it means that you are indifferent to life. And that pisses me off because I see really clearly the lengths that you went to as your higher self to build you, knowing that you would be part of this reality, knowing that the possibilities of what could happen here range from amazing miracles to a shit show all the time. It's one extreme or the other, sometimes it feels. All of those ranges are always available to us. And yet there's very little support, encouragement, truth-telling about this dynamic. The fact that just because you're here doesn't mean you screwed up, doesn't mean you're a natural sinner, and doesn't mean that it's somehow more evolved to not care whether you're alive or not, whether your human is in this reality, in this game, or not. Indifference to death is indifference to life. And I'm not okay with that. Because I see you, I see me, and I see so many others that have so clearly really set in motion this beautiful opportunity for humanity to restore its light, for humanity to evolve, for humanity to actually wake up to the unconsciousness, wake up to the bullshit, wake up to the nonsense, and say no on the shit show. Sorry for the cursing, for those that don't like that. It feels good to me sometimes, and I really, really mean it. Okay, so let me just relax my shoulders here. Okay. Okay, so what is going on here? What's important in what I said a moment ago about the fact that you are this pure light that chose to be here to turn the lights back on within humanity, what's important to realize is that sometimes the first thing that happens for many of us when we have that sort of awakening or even born again sort of experience where we feel fresh and new again, the first thing somebody does is say, oh, well, let me teach you how to do this. And they immediately start to make you feel like, number one, you don't know what you're doing. Number two, you can't trust your light without, wait for it, an intermediary, right? Number three, that you can't really be that good at this or you wouldn't be here, because this is a bunch of people that weren't good enough to stay in heaven. So by your very nature of being human, you must be screwed up. How is that any different than the concept of original sin that many of us said no to many years ago, or even yesterday, or even right now? It seems different. It feels esoterically distinct, and yet energetically it's exactly the same. Because what it's doing is your structure as your human is basically on a mode of, I don't have it yet, I'm not there yet, I don't know enough. Number 3. That's all over the place. I see it all the time in my work. Well, I don't know enough. What more do you really need to know? Truly, I'm saying this to your brains, beautiful, beautiful brains inside those beautiful bodies. What more do you really need to know other than the fact that you didn't come here to fit in, you didn't come here to belong, and you didn't come here to learn? Boom. Smack, as I think my 14-year-old would say, Olivia. Just feel that for a minute. Now, the main resistance I get when I say that we're not here to learn is, oh, so we know everything, we don't learn anything here? Okay, now notice, this is very subtle, but again, very important. It's not that we don't learn anything here. You can feel I'm irritated because I've said this so many times. It's not that we don't learn anything here as a soul, as a human, etc. It's that that's not why we came. We didn't come here to learn. Earth is not a school. How do I know? That's actually the question I actually feel from some of you. There were so many masters of light that sacrificed everything, including their life, just to show us that we were already light, that we were already amazing, and that we were already glorious in the eyes of our Maker, which is ourselves, as our higher self, the vibration of the Uno, Source, Creator, God. And when we question it in a way that defeats and prevents us from truly allowing that sense of glory and purpose and divinity that we did with that divine diamond meditation here at the beginning, when we start to question it, we go back into that contracted state. And I honor where that questioning comes from. It's coming from your brain, it's coming from your ego that doesn't want to screw up, and doesn't want to get things wrong, and doesn't want to look like an idiot, and doesn't want there to be some hell to pay, literally and figuratively, if we're wrong, right? To me, it's clear that all the evidence points to the fact that we are eternally light, and that nothing about our humanness is a sign of the opposite. But yet that's the reality we've been creating. Some of us unknowingly, personally, we've been creating that reality of I'm human, so that I must not be there yet. If I were good enough, I wouldn't be here. If I had learned everything I needed to learn, I wouldn't be back here again. None of those have to be true. But we have just enough power with our free will over our consciousness to make them true if you want them to be true. Now your brain is really going good on this one. Your brain is like logical and like, okay, so let's take them, right? I honor your brain. I honor intelligence. I honor the ego. It plays a very important role here in our humanness. And it is the storyteller. And it's the stories that I'm asking you to question and call bullshit on as needed. Okay? Oh, thank you. Archangel Gabriel is here and he's like, let's do it this way. Okay, let's do it. I like where you're showing me here. This happens all the time. This isn't a fairy tale. This happens all the time. A being like us, in a group like this, that would be listening and interested in something like this, their body stops working, they die, quote unquote, and at the first review window, oh man, yeah, Gabriel, I'm just like, wait, but what about this other part I've talked about in the Watiko series? Okay, we're not going to talk about that here, so it's hard not to though. Okay, let me feel into this for a minute. Let me think about this for a minute, which way I want to go. Because in the Outwitting Watiko series, which is spelled IKO, we go really, really, we have a whole, I think, a 2-hour session on what happens after death, how the dark age continues in the afterlife cycles, how to avoid getting stuck in those way stations between you and your authentic reunion with your full higher self consciously, right? So anyway, so I can't replace what we did in that series here. So go to that if you're curious. Just go on my search item on my website and type in just Wetiko, Wetiko, and you'll get the offer there. And I priced it really, really good because I want everybody to get that. Okay, so at the life review, let's bypass the dark age version of it. At the real life review, the real one, there is this opportunity for, this is true. The story is about you reviewing your life. That really happens. It's an integration phase. A lot of times what happens is the first thing they notice is when they see themselves as their higher self integrating, they see they're human. And we cry. Not like human tears, but, oh my God, I'm so beautiful. Not just physically. Look at my light. Why didn't I feel that? Why didn't I feel how amazing I know I was? Dang it, right? So it can be a range of kind of remorse and shoot, I forgot again. I did it again. And nobody's judging you, right? Your committee that's reviewing it with you, your team, isn't like, yep, you got to go back there and fix that. They're just like, I know, Earth is amazing, right? Geez, I mean, what's happened to all of us that have been there but at least once or twice, that you go and you forget and you come back and you go, oh my God. And it's more like appreciation for how magical this reality is, that you truly have the opportunity, even with amazing intentions of entrance and then into the physical time-space reality, into the birth canal, of, oh my gosh, I'm going to remember, I promise I remember. The minute there's that fullness of your time-space continuum manifestation, you're human, it's like forgetting. Maybe not forgetting everything at that point. Forgetting can happen over time. There can be more divine connection felt at a young age, and then life happens, right? And there's all these different stories that are offered to your ego, that your ego, every point along the way, with every truth, every story, has had like a red, no, heck no, that's not right, or a green, yes. Sometimes those of us that consider ourselves quite savvy and kind of not gullible and unflappable, we may be like, oh yeah, we've definitely like had a great radar. I think you'd be surprised. I know I surprised myself, and I consider myself very savvy. There are so many times when I'm like, yep, okay, I've got this. This story works. This truth, this, i.e. the stories, because the ego's the storyteller, telling myself this works. And then you run into some issue and you're like, okay, wait, it doesn't work anymore. Or I feel horrible, or it's disconnecting me from love. It's disconnecting me from how I know our source creator, God, essence, looks at this place and looks at ourselves. And that's my barometer of whether I know my truth is off or not. Okay? Your higher self is not saying, oh, well, she died. It's like, oh, darn it. So it's not as sorrowful as from our humanness when we die or when someone dies. But it's certainly still honoring of the creation of life that we did individually through our source creator God essence. The experiences that we set in motion and that we chose to receive, the mistruths and the truths and how they affected us and how they allowed for such a unique experience that we really, as our higher selves, can't have anywhere else. This is such a special place that is kind of like, for those of us that love roller coasters, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then you're getting to that breaking part at the end. You're like, shoot, it's over. It's over. And we'll never be that version of ourselves again. In this reality, you are not allowed. You're not allowed, and I'm hearing also from Gabriel, we wouldn't want to do it over again exactly the same way, with the same fingerprints and the same retina, with the same voice imprint, with the same size, with the same eye color. I mean, everything is different every time we choose to come here. I'm indifferent about whether somebody believes their story is that they've come a whole bunch of times or they've only come once. That I don't want to go on a tangent. We talk about that in another series, the Soul Signature series. But that spiritual elitism of, I've been here 100 times. And there's a sassy part of me that's like, really, you didn't get it right at 100 times? Playing into that silly story about if you're here, you must not have done something right. I'm playing into that story, and I don't say that sarcastically anymore. I just kind of laugh that it is kind of a funny thing to say, because I don't like spiritual elitism, and I do like to say things even that I don't believe, to kind of just chink a little hole in that, because it's separating themselves from their higher self, and it's separating them from another version of this experience that I know is even better. The version of this experience where you don't want to be better than anybody else. You just want to be your most rock star you. And what you really want is for everyone else to do the same thing. Everyone. Not leaving anyone out. That's your biggest dream as your higher self. Is, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing if we cracked the codes? If we created another bypass to the regular matrix here, allowing a full expression as we each would script it as the authors of our own journey, of being fully light and being fully human. And we have examples of that. Jesus was an example of that, and there are many others. Buddha was obviously an example of that. There's different spectrums. It's not about like an A+. It's about they are an inspiration. They can serve as an inspiration for us. And there's many everyday human representatives too, because then they're saying, no, don't make us spiritually legal. It's all about all of us with just the right ability to reconstruct our way of thinking about ourselves, revising. Oh gosh, and here's Smokey. Oh my goodness, the animals. They're like, wait, I want in. Okay, Smokey, you coming in? You can come in even though you have a cat door. Come on. Good boy. All right. Okay. So maybe that's a sign for me to kind of check where I'm going and where we're headed here, and feel if there's, because we could talk about this stuff for days. What it felt like for me. Some people talk about like a Kundalini experience or a dark night of the soul. Some people talk about this sudden realization that everything we thought was true is not true, and that there actually doesn't need to be an intermediary. Even Smokey, oh Smokey, oh my goodness, he's rubbing up against the tripod, and everything is gonna fall. Baby, I need your help with this. Thank you. Okay, no, you can rub up against my leg, not the tripod's legs. Okay, sorry you guys for these distractions. I will not be distracted. Okay. I guess I'm less concerned about what you call it, what you call your instigation from your before to your after. I just want you to feel more authority over your present and the after. I want you, as your sister in this reality, to feel more authority for the stories that you tell yourself, for the energy patterns that they create, so that you can set things in a different direction if you don't like where you are. Okay? If you don't like where you are, it's very important that you slow down your thinking to get to the roots of what is your baseline story that's creating that misery that you may be having in your life, or pain, or separation, or loneliness, or whatever that is. It is once you get a system for questioning yourself, slowing down the thinking, and really like, wait a minute, that's not true, right? That's what I just thought right there. That's not accurate, or it doesn't have to be accurate, or there's more to it than that. The stories that we let our egos run very deeply within our consciousness can be very connecting to our higher self energy. They can also be extremely separating from our higher self energy. And when you are separated from your higher self energy, you are cutting yourself off from all of that diamond energy that we talked about at the beginning. You're trying to figure your brain in combination with your ego, your storyteller, is constructing a reality where all you've got is your 5 human senses. The entire nature of whether you have a good day or a bad day is based on outside circumstances that you have absolutely no control over, right? That's how most of humanity is. The fact that in a community like this, which is more conscious, the fact that we have some of that going on, I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. What didn't you hear that I've been saying over the years? Let me come and just give you a hug for a minute for anybody that's in that state of just feeling like maybe worse. Maybe for some of you, it actually feels worse to know that your higher self is super happy you're here. Because your story, your interpretation is, wow, I must really hate myself. My higher self looking at the misery that I've been in and liking it, I'm a sadist. A sadist, somebody who likes pain. That is sadist, right? Anyway, what I meant there was somebody who likes pain. I just not wanting to go into the other version of that word that we hear more often. We're not going there today. But see, your higher self is offering compassion for your pain. Your higher self is understanding that this reality includes the option of pain, misery, not wanting to be here, really wishing there was an exit point coming up soon so that you can get the heck out. Your higher self knows that very, very well. Your higher self sees more than we see. So it sees everything. And its next step in seeing what you are and what's happening here isn't judgment. It isn't, oh man, I really got to figure this out. Again, that is the storyteller of, I must be here to learn a lesson, right? So some, when they're in a state of misery, their next breath is, I must be in this to learn a lesson, right? There's that story again, the limiting story. What if that's not true? What if you've actually had the power all along of saying in response to your own comment, your own self of, oh, this must be a lesson, or to someone else, even if you say it to yourself, that you actually have the power to say, or not, that shit just happens here, and it doesn't have anything to do with what I need to learn or what I can learn, that it just happened. And it's no reflection on anything I messed up on. It's no reflection on a missed turn. It's no reflection that my higher self is like trying to grab my reins and trying to steer me another direction. It just happened. Be neutral about the situation. And then you are more in alignment with your higher self energy. Because your higher self energy definitely knows you're in pain. It doesn't like that, doesn't like to see you in pain. But it also is more neutral about the reasons for it. Again, the story. Oh my goodness, the power of our storyteller. Samson, honey, I know you want out again, but I'm going to say no. I'm sorry, later you can go outside again. Okay. So let's pretend one of us here, Gabriel just said actually, a lot of us, a lot of you here are thinking, I don't like my life. This can't have been my purpose. Think about that. Your story is what you are living right now can't have been your purpose. Is that true? Does it serve your higher self to create that truth in your reality? No, it doesn't. Because you are blocking yourself from feeling purposeful in this reality by having a story that says, this can't be my purpose. So what I would offer you is that your sense of what's going on is limited because it's only maybe from that 5 human senses system, which is awesome. I love the 5 human senses, but there's so much more. And then if it's combined with some esoteric auric field sorts of stories that are not aligned with your higher self again, They're connected to a limited reality of stories in this world that are not the truth. Again, that Earth is a school, that you must be here to learn lessons, and it's almost like welcoming lessons. That's another, thank you, Metatron is just showing me that that's actually another subtle energy pattern that shows up with those individuals that consider Earth a school and consider themselves a student of life in this reality. And for some that feel the no pain, no gain story as well, they're really creating subconsciously a whole bunch of horrible situations because they're like, let's just get this over with. My story is that I don't want to come back here. My story is that it is not a pleasure to be here on Earth. That is a sentence. That Earth is a school. I just want to effing graduate already. Come on. Just give me all the finals in this exam so I can get the hell out of here. Right? It's interesting because right there, all I felt was honor for you, that is your choice. I just want you to make sure you know you're making it. That you are choosing for that to be your story and that is creating your reality. It doesn't have to be that way. Your higher self can look at exactly the facts that you have going on right now, that have ever gone on, and that will ever go on. And I guarantee you, your story that your higher self has about what's going on is not that. Is not that laying flat on the floor, just put me out of my misery anyway, sort of vibration. Your higher self isn't that. But unconsciously, somehow you are choosing that, perhaps over and over and over again. And you don't have to. So one way to break that pattern, break that spell of unconsciousness, is literally to ask yourself a question. Because your ego actually loves questions, possibly even more than stories, because when you address the curiosity questions, you're engaging more of your higher self. So one spell breaker in this case, and I just said last week I don't do spells, that's so funny. Not those kind of spells. To change the course of energy, if you're in a space that you don't like, is to say to yourself, I wonder how my higher self is looking at this situation. I wonder how my higher self is perceiving what's happening right now that feels like it's killing me. And that alone can start to kind of break the chain of that downward spiral, or what's keeping you in that lower state of separation from your higher self energy. Okay? That alone can be a game changer. Now I see you. I see a fellow sovereign essence of energy in a human form. So I couldn't possibly come up with all the possible ways that you could redirect your energy in this reality. So I will offer tricks and techniques and strategies that I am shown that will work for you, while also encouraging you, step up to the plate, friend. Create your own. If you don't like mine, then don't just be like, oh, well, that didn't work. Yeah. So to me and to your higher self, your life is worth living or you wouldn't be here. So get out your own authorship, i.e. your own authority, and experiment with other ways to debunk the myths in your own consciousness field, right? I know that seems impossible because your ego is like, how can we know what we don't know? By asking yourself questions, by questioning what you're thinking, by calling bullshit on the stories and the truths, quote unquote, that are running in your field that have you feeling separate from your higher self energy. If you aren't going to call bullshit on that, nobody is going to. Nobody can do it, but you can. And I know I'm getting irritated and pissed off at this idea, but I'm pissed off that this reality is so effing good at keeping us from our higher self. It drives me nuts. I hate it. I hate it and love it at the same time, because I get it that my higher self is like, this reality is so cool. But I get it also as a fully fleshed human that it doesn't always feel cool. Sometimes it feels like it absolutely sucks. Sometimes it feels like hell on earth. And it may as well be. That's a sign of the power that we have, that we could be sitting right next to each other And my essence or my interpretation of what's going on is, wow, our higher selves are pretty jazzed about this. And yet somebody right next to me, maybe even one of you, is like, this sucks. My higher self is definitely wanting me to get this crap over with so I can get out of here. You have the authority, the free will, and the sovereignty to tell yourself whatever you want to. I tend to like to tell myself things that are closer to the truth of how Source Creator God views this world. Call it cosmology, call it worldview, call it anything that works. But please, please stop handing over the authority over your life to ideas and beliefs that are totally outdated, totally not serving you, totally not serving the light that you are. Okay? And it may take some time. That doesn't mean it's a lesson. It just means that if you've got a lot of layers to that nonsense going on in your field that keeps you separate from that diamond energy that we felt at the beginning, I encourage you to just just let yourself come up with multiple strategies for questioning it so that you can eventually even laugh at it. That's definitely my process. And one of my favorite examples is when I first awakened, and I too was offered, oh, well, did you know about the secret? Did you know about what the bleep do we know? And I watch The Secret, I watch What the Bleep Do We Know, because you feel like you're being handed the manual of what's going on. And I tried out some of those ideas. Some of them from the very beginning, I was like, that does not feel right to me. How did I know that? How do you know? Because there's another deeper voice within you that's helping you with the red, no, and the green, yes, answers, right? So when you let yourself be your own barometer, using a system of, am I loving myself as I imagine and hope that my higher self is? And is this idea allowing me to love and honor all the other life forms, including the humans? Don't leave out the humans. You chose to be human. That are also here. That's my litmus test, because that's how I know Source Creator God looks at us. And it works. How's it working for you? If your truths and beliefs are not keeping you in a fairly sustainable, fairly stable sense of literally God's love, then I encourage you to, just like a whack-a-mole game, start going at those thoughts and beliefs, and they may run really, really deep. They may go way back, right? And you don't have to address those in linear time. In other words, just because it happened 50 years ago for some of you doesn't mean it's going to take you 50 years to undo them. We're in quantum time, right? And we're in a multidimensional range of energy here. So when you can allow yourself more room, which is why we did the expansion at the very beginning, to let yourself see more clearly from kind of an outsider, quote unquote, perspective, but really it's not outsider, it's actually the deepest insider that you can think of, which is your higher self, which is beyond this time-space continuum altogether. It's an omnipresent version of you that sees the love that you are, just like at that life review that we talked about. I hope you don't wait for a life review to begin to consider how impressive you are, how majestic you are, and how undeniably glorious that you are, even when you feel like you're flopping around like a fish out of water. This reality is designed for separation. So it messes with the best of us. Don't take it personally, right? Remember in that afterlife review that Gabriel showed us, there was a sense of, oh my gosh, that reality is, it's just so good, right? Like that blindfold covering the eyes is just so good at blinding us from seeing for ourselves, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm noticing that my right eye is twitching. It started doing that a couple days ago. It's so funny. Okay, I'm feeling it. So it's distracting me even if you can't see it. Anyway, okay, that feels good. That feels good. This whole thing felt like a huge activation. Okay, lots of comments. Pam, There's a lot of negativity here, sister. Not about me, but just you about you. Sister. If you're led and you have the resources, I would love to meet with you in private session. Some of your chain of logic here is so in the story that's just like locked in, and I will do everything that I can to help kind of unwind and loosen up that story so that you can give yourself permission to replace it with a new one. But you're in it good here, girl. At one point, you guys, Pam says, I don't think my higher self is talking to me anymore, LOL. And I know you're kidding, but I also know you're serious. This isn't about your higher self talking to you guys, right? Notice that no point in that classic life review that Gabriel showed us was somebody like, but was I able to talk to myself? Was I able to hear my team? That's what really matters. No one says that at our life review. No one. Oh, that was big. I've never noticed that before, but I totally see what you're saying. No one at their life review, at that true reunion of self with the higher self-consciousness says, but was I able to clearly hear my higher self in that journey? That's never been the goal for any of us here. And part of me is questioning that. I'm like, really? For no one? Because it's not necessary. Jesus just said, and Buddha just said, amen. It's not, oh God, here's another pet peeve of mine just coming right up to the surface. It is not necessary for anyone to be able to communicate with their team. It is not necessary. Would we like it? Possibly. Do I like it that I can? For sure I can. For sure I like that. That allows me to support you in this way. But the goal for me isn't that you get to talk to your team. I'm not like, oh, can you talk to your team? I love it when I interact with people that can also interact with their team. Actually, everybody can talk to your team. It's the answering back that's the hard part, right? Because of the stories, because of the vibration. And I'm still not convinced all of us are wired, that we brought the equipment with us to be able to interact and dialogue with our team. It will screw people up, you guys. So I'm not better because I can interact with my team. And for those that can't have a dialogue with their team, you're not less than me, right? If you can, great. If you can't, great. Stop, please stop making that the objective. It's not necessary. Okay? And I don't know if I can say it anymore. I don't know if I have any good valid reasons I can talk you out of that being the goal, but it's not the goal. So let's see. I'll see if in our time today, if that comes up a better rationale that would entertain your brain from your story, from having that. Just stop that nonsense. Oh my God. And I did talk about this in July, I think. I don't remember when it was. Anyway, it was a podcast somewhere in the 90 to 100 range that I talked about that. Okay. Oh, no, Pam. Oh, here you go. Actually, no, Pam, but here you go again. I love you. I'm just going to point this out because I love you. She's saying, thank you, dear heart. I'm sorry for bringing everyone down. I want everyone to rise. Okay, Pam. So your story is that by you telling us what's going on with you, that we're all down because of it. I didn't go down because of it, right? No, I'm not down at all. So it's interesting that your story is that you have no power, but yet by saying that you are unhappy, that you have the power to make everyone else unhappy. Do you see the paradox there? I just felt like your logical part of your brain said, ooh, alert, that made sense. Yeah, do you see how they can't go together? Either you are powerful or you're not. And either we are powerful or we're not. And I definitely do not play this game that by somebody saying that I don't think my higher self is talking to me anymore, that it's going to like ruin the energy, right? It definitely changes the energy and it introduces something else that I wish we didn't have to talk about. But hey, we are on Earth and this stuff happens all the time. All the time. Okay, so Pam, I love you. I'm really asking you to question your story, sister. Okay, Dee Dee is saying bravo. Yay, yes, it's that simple. And it explains how much I talk to myself and work through these things easily. I'm in alignment now more than ever, and haven't had any deep sorrow in a long time knowing these simple truths, empowering knowing what you speak of. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Sue. Hi, Sue. She's saying, I have fallen, quote unquote, lately, or this later lifetime. I'm not sure I understand that part of feeling victimhood. I am aware of this and I'm trying to overpower that feeling, which I know isn't truth. Is it saying I love me? I am love? Need help moving through this into me. Thank you in advance. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome in advance. Okay, so the part of you that would be thinking, or feeling, I should say, well, it's both. It's thinking and feeling, you guys. Feeling like, woe's me, pity party. Everything good happens to everyone else but me. So-and-so has it so easy. That's the most common flavor I sense when I'm noticing this in other people is it's almost like they're saying to me, well, easy for you to say, Jill. And their story is that I'm able to be in joy or able to connect with my team because of all these factors that are nothing about why I'm able and why I choose to be me. Okay? They're all stories, you guys. For every single one of you, that for me or anyone else, you're like, well, yeah, they've got it easy. Really, just stay with me right here for a moment. And I want you to continue that thought. They've got it easy because, and I actually want you to re-listen to this, or if you're already in the replay, pause it right here. And I want you to list out 3 things about why. Why is it easier for them? For me or whatever person you're feeling has it easier than you. I just want you to write it down. Okay, write it down, look at it, really just look at it, hopefully in a neutral way, or let yourself get super angry or super sad about it. Let whatever emotions come up. It's not fair because they don't have this or they have this and I don't have it or I do have that. It's not fair. Just let yourself go through all the inner child sensations of being pissed off, angry, sad, whatever. Lonely, whatever the reaction is about that list. And then I want you to ask yourself, again, the spell-breaking question, or maybe it's a new question, I can't remember the one we gave earlier. Is that really true? Is it serving me that that's my truth? And then finally, and this is the part that feels like the biggest stretch for your logical brain, do I want that to be true? Because if it's not serving your light in connecting and allowing, not connecting in communication, connecting in feeling that you are glorious, that you are amazing, and that your higher self with every breath you've ever taken has said, oh my God, look at me, I'm so amazing. Right? Even if I can't dance, even if I eat potato chips. I mean, not that I'm eating potato chips anymore. See my green salad? But whatever that is, right? Those stories, if they're not serving you, then don't tell them to yourself anymore. Replace them with a different one. Be curious about another story that you can tell yourself that works better than the one that's keeping you feeling separate and distracted by whatever the fudge I'm doing or the other person that you supposedly are comparing yourself to. That's a total distraction. It's keeping you from looking in the mirror and actually saying to yourself, you know, I wish this would have never happened to me, or I wish that I was this, or I wish I wasn't that. Just let yourself feel that way. You don't need to stuff that in a closet. That's real, right? I wish that I was this. I wish I'd win the lottery. I wish I was married. I wish I wasn't married. I mean, there's a myriad of stories that we feel, that we tell ourselves that we feel are holding us back from something, right? And again, I go into this in way more detail in the Soul Signature series. But that is a wonderful starting point, is questioning those stories. Do you want them to be true? I know to our logical brains, it's like, well, you can't just make it up. You sure about that? Just because you make it up doesn't mean it's fiction. What you imagine, what you consider, and then you practice, i.e. you play it out and you see how it feels, it becomes your truth. You make it your truth. That's the creator energy in human form that most humans forgot about, don't believe, don't trust, can't imagine being true. So I'm not waiting for them to get it, because it's too fudging amazing to know it's true and to make that system true for myself. That imagination is what got you here to begin with. That imagination, that curiosity, that love for light in physical form is what got you here in this reality to begin with. And you're not going to trust that now? You're a living, breathing example of your higher self's love for humanity. And you're not going to give yourself the pleasure of feeling that yourself? For each other? For yourself? That just pisses me off. It's like Christmas and not opening the gifts. Because I don't like I told you so. I don't want it to be where I pop in at your life review and say, I told you. Do you remember that day when you listened to me say, when you saw me say this? And you said, that can't be right. She can't be right. She must be making this up. And then at your life review, you're like, oh, wow. Right? And see, I'm rooting it for you as you're in your reunion, because you can't say, well, no one told me. Why didn't somebody tell me? And I am going to pop in on my omnipresent layer and say, I did. I told you. Now you can choose not to listen to me, right? You could totally choose that. You can choose to go any direction you want to, but at least give yourself the power to feel that you've been going in a whole bunch of different directions, even if you didn't realize you were steering yourself. Okay? All right. Oh, thank you. I'm just saying thank you to all of our teams, because it really... Okay. Yep, Jill, this is where we comment. Another Jill. Okay, Pam is saying, yes, that's so true. Love you too, hun. I love you too. Pam, I would love to talk to you in private session. I'm getting so much energy from you. I'd love to point it out. Okay. Hafsa, hello, goddess. She's saying, so our prayers to fulfill our desire should originate from an energy of authority. Yes. But try not to oversimplify it. Yes, that is true. But what hangs up, let me see, I just have to feel into I want a spokesperson for what's coming through right here, because it's easier for me. Knowing it's the team. It's Gabrielle again. Okay, thank you. Yes, but don't get too hung up on that, because what the real hang up is for our humanness is the truth, the knowing that we have a say in where we are right now, and that we have had a say at some level in everywhere we've been, and that we have a say in where we're going forward. And that's a hard one, you guys, because a lot of us really do not want to take any responsibility for things that have happened to us. Now, I get it. My logical brain is like, isn't that the opposite of what you just said earlier about not take it personally? Not taking it personally and taking responsibility for it are two different things, okay? If I, on my way to pick up my daughter today, get in a car accident, I guarantee you I will not be thinking, oh no, I must have had to learn this lesson. My reaction will be, hopefully I'm still alive, I'll be like, well, what are my choices here? How do I want to respond to this? I could be walking out of my car. I could, be fine. I could check on the other driver, see if they're okay. I could feel love for them versus, you idiot, weren't you paying attention? I bet you were texting, just immediate. I may stay in my heart space and want to make sure that they're okay. I want to give them a hug, and especially if they're okay, saying, hey, well, we just made it through something that could have taken us both out. High five, we're still here for a reason. Yes, right? There's so many different ways that can go. So my authority is that I live, right? My prayer is that I live. My authority is to notice the authority I have while I'm still alive, while recognizing that everybody has some degree of authority, including somebody knocking me off in an intersection and bumping me in my car, or worse, right? That's possible. That's always possible here. Random. Yeah, I want to call it random. I know some people, everything happens for a reason. Yes, but that's really, that story has gotten us into a shithole of, lessons and personalizing everything. Just because everything happens for a reason, I question our ability to apply reason to the reason. So good. Okay, my eye's twitching again. Okay, hey Jody, she's saying I have to run, but just wanted to say thank you and I can't wait to listen again without distractions. Oh, I'm glad we have it for you to listen again. Hafsa, feel free to ask your question another way if I didn't get there for you. But I do feel like you're trying to make it like really linear formulaic, and you and I both know it's much more dynamic than that. But yes, our prayers to fulfill our desires should originate from an energy of authority. Yes, that's true. And then also feeling that authority when things don't go your way. Thank you, Gabriel. Got that. Okay. So also feeling that authority when things don't go the way you want them to, or the way that you thought you wanted them to. Feeling authority that you can handle that too. Okay? I like that. Thank you, Gabriel. I'm going to want to write that one down. I say that all the time and then I don't. Okay. I feel like we're wrapping up. We didn't take any live callers, but I feel okay about that. We covered a lot today, you guys. And I have other things I want to get to too. So I love you. Thank you for being everything that you are. I love you, whether you are loving your life in this moment or wishing your life would end in this moment. I truly, truly love you. And I love you enough that I want to offer whatever I can to help you love your life, because this is a gift and it feels amazing when you live your life as it is a gift, even when things don't go your way. That to me is the ultimate consciousness. It isn't about making everything go your way, that's some form of enlightenment that, oh, I got exactly what I wanted. No, it's about being your light even when you don't get what you want. Yeah, that's not like a goal, but it feels better. It's a choice, right, that we can make all the time, with every breath, with every thought, with every action, with every intention, with every wish, with every prayer, with every hug, with every slap. Okay? I love you guys. I'm still gonna eat my salad. It's been sitting there, but it still looks yummy. I have parsley in there. For some reason, I want to tell you guys. I've got a mixed green. So I've got baby kale, I've got spinach, I've got lots of parsley, and something called sunflower seed shoots. And they're adorable. These really cute little things that look like they would just grow outside. They were grown locally, and I'm feeling like my body's really loving those. And I had scallops with my lunch too. Okay. I love you guys so much. My website is jillreneefeeler.com. That's JILLRENEE, F as in Frank, EELER.com. I love you. And I hope you like this message. Thank you for sharing it. I am back on iTunes, by the way, and back on Stitcher. Actually, I don't know if I was ever on Stitcher, but my iTunes feed broke like in February, and I'm pretty sure it was user error, but I could not figure out how to fix it. And I finally got it fixed this weekend. I'm like, oh, thank God, literally, that it's fixed. So for those of you that listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher, thanks you for rating it. That does matter, apparently, somehow, in the meta field. Whether somebody said they like this, it helps this vibration, this message, this information, these resources kind of percolate more solidly through the field and humanity, so that more people can hear it and choose for themselves whether it's an upgrade or not. Okay, I just want everyone to have the choice. That's what annoys me about this reality, is when it feels like you're like we don't have enough information to make these choices. So I stopped waiting for somebody to validate and approve my message, like a Hay House or Oprah, right? Oh, well, if I get an Oprah Soul series, then I've made it. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting for Louise to get me. I'm not waiting for Oprah to get me. If they get me, fine. If they don't, fine. I'm not waiting around anymore for anyone to say that I'm legit and that I've got something seriously kick-ass valuable for all fashions of source, creator, God, light, energy, and form in this world. That matters. You matter. I love you. Bye for now. And I'll hopefully see you next time. I love you guys. For those of you that are still on the line, yeah, I'll do a little song for you. I just felt this Titanium song by David Guetta. I don't know all the words, so I apologize. Shout it out, but it's you who have farther to fall. I'm talking loud, not saying much. Criticized, but sticks and stones may break my bones. Talking loud, not saying much. I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Fire away. Ricochet, you take your aim. Fire away. Shoot me down, but I won't fall. And I cannot hit these next notes, so I'm going to go down in range. I am titanium. Shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. And the titanium, of course, is your higher self. And so it is. Until next time, I love you guys. I love you.